7 years. Christine is amazing at personal branding. She currently works for Agora Pulse, it's really recently. So today she's talking about personal branding, but if you want to know about building a community, that's what she's doing at Agora Pulse. She is amazing. She is the lady in red. Let's welcome Christine Gritmon to the stage!
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to anyone watching in the Social Media Pulse community, because we are live streaming, so let's sound like a big room. So, as Amanda said, I am Christine Gritmon. And what does that mean? Well, first of all, I talk about personal branding, and I have 2 very large public conversations about personal branding every single week on my Chat About Brand Twitter chat on Tuesdays, and my Let's Talk About Brand live stream on Fridays. And as Amanda mentioned, I also work for Agora Pulse's brand new, totally free online community for social media professionals called Social Media Pulse. In fact, if anyone would be interested in writing for Social Media Pulse, I'm the lady to talk to. But as she mentioned, the other thing that I do is personal branding. So I have noticed that there are 3 main steps that I've found to kind of figuring out your personal brand. So there is, first of all, getting past your blockages. You have to unblock whatever it is that is getting in your way, whatever fears need to get out of the equation for you to embrace your personal brand. Then you have to define it. Who are you? What do you do? For whom? How do you do it in a way that nobody else does? All of that. And then you have to figure out how you're going to rock it out, where you're going to be visible, in what ways. Can't do it all. Speaking of can't do it all, we've only got 20 minutes today, so I'm going to focus on what I have found in my work with hundreds of people and brands has been the biggest, most important part that everyone always wants to skip, which is unblock. The blockages are the biggest part of the work when I work with people on figuring out their personal brand. So we're going to go through what I have found through working, again, with hundreds of people and brands on this, tend to be the 3 main fears and barriers that I have found people deal with. And you will see yourself in here for sure. But this is how we can unblock your awesomeness. So the first fear that I see a lot of people having, and I actually spelled the next slide wrong, that should be one of the fears, but it hasn't been, is fear of, oh no, I did spell it right. Fear of braggadocio, which is basically being seen as an obnoxious braggart. Now, I looked up the definition. Now, braggadocio is really sort of, if you can't back it up, right? It's someone who actually kind of sucks, but claims that they're all that. If you can back it up, good news. It is not braggadocio. But basically, what I want to say is this. If you don't feel comfortable talking about what you're great at, really, that's a non-starter. You really have to get over this. And so I'm actually going to do a very, very quick exercise with all of you. Very quick, again, short presentation. Everyone pick a partner. Really quickly, super quickly. Pick someone next to you and be like, okay, you're my partner. And you are going to have 1 minute each. 1 minute each, and there's going to be a timer. 1 minute each. First person goes first, they get their whole minute, then the second person gets their whole minute. You're going to tell them something you are awesome at. And this is something that's kind of known. And I don't mean tell them your job description. Tell them why you're awesome at it. Tell them your special sauce. What are you personally amazing at? Then tell them something you're awesome at that maybe people don't know. For example, I'm a fabulous singer. How many people do that? Probably not that many of you. And then, just because I know that's a little uncomfortable, tell them something you suck at also. All right, first person, go. Oh,
I'm also a singer. What do I say about?
I'll tell you. So what I'm great at is I'm great at helping people get to the root of their issues. I'm great at hearing people's stories, helping them to tell their stories, really the people stuff. I love people's stories. I'm great at helping them shine a light on themselves. I'm great at shining a light on them. What I'm great at that not everyone knows, as I mentioned, I sing. I'm also very good at drawing. And something that I suck at. Give me choreography steps, I will find a way to hurt myself. So I'm not a good dancer at all. I also find ways to screw up recipes. I can cook an awful recipe, but maybe it's something about skips.
The timer is not working for some reason, so let's just go ahead and say we can start moving on to person number 2.
Yeah, no. I love being on stage. I love being on camera. I think I do it well. Like, I'm very involved in the audience. You know, I always get people to do full graphic themselves.
All right, let's start wrapping those up.
What else is
I said, let's start wrapping those up. All right, so for a lot of you, it probably felt a little weird and uncomfortable to talk about something you're great at, but hopefully it also felt pretty good. But what I really care about is think about how it felt to hear someone tell you what they were good at. When they told you what they were good at, did you smile?
Yeah.
Did it feel kind of nice? Did you sit there thinking, God, I want this person to fall flat on their face? Or do you want them to succeed? You want them to succeed, right? If not, get out of here, you're a psycho. No, you probably want them to succeed, right? So yet, we feel so uncomfortable. We don't feel like people are gonna want us to succeed. We feel like people are gonna be like, oh, what a braggy mess. Oh, that's so obnoxious. And that's because we don't fear that people will judge us the way we judge other people. We fear that people are gonna judge us the way we judge ourselves. We tend to say things to ourselves about ourselves that we would never tolerate hearing someone say about someone we loved, that we never would say about someone we loved, that we probably wouldn't even say about a stranger. We don't root for our own success enough. So that's where that fear comes from. We worry, we hear ourselves and we're like, oh God, I'm gonna sound so obnoxious if I say that. But when we actually say it, people are attracted to that confidence if we're not obnoxious about it. Again, people like rooting for a winner, and especially if they're going to work with you. My goodness, do you want to work with someone who doesn't believe they're good at what they do? Do you want to give them your money? You know, you hope if someone's driving a bus that you're riding in, you hope they're a good driver, right? You don't want them to get into an accident. So we want to make sure that we realize confidence is a good thing. Because you know who actually wants us to succeed? You know who hears what we're good at and says, oh, heck yeah, I'm going to root for that person. Hopefully us, but certainly people we want to work with, certainly people who care about us and are invested in our success. You know who doesn't want to hear that? You know who hears us say that we're good at something and says, oh, haters. Haters, losers, people who are so busy hating on other people like yourself who are awesome at things, instead of putting their energy towards being awesome themselves or building other people up. Those are losers. And guess what? You are not here for the losers. Say that with me. I'm not here for the losers.
I am not here for the losers.
So why are you letting them shut you up? Seriously. So now that we've gone past the fear of bragging, now you can move on to the next steps, which are defining what it is that you're awesome at. You got to do that in order to move forward with your personal brand. And defining who needs to know what you're amazing at. And also figuring out how you're going to rock it out. Where are those people going to see you? Where are they hanging out? Where can you get their attention? All right. Thing number 2, selfishness. We worry that if we put our personal brands forward in the way that we really should, we're going to look selfish, self-centered, like it's all about us. Now, first of all, if it's your business, yes, it is all about you. It should be. That's proper. But second of all, that thinking is selfish, because you know what that does? That means that you are so in your own head, worrying about what other people are going to think, that you are hiding yourself from the people who need you. You're hiding your skills, your gifts, your knowledge from the people who need it. That is selfish. It's the hiding that is selfish. It is not the putting yourself out there that's selfish, because you know what? You cannot help them if they cannot find you, and that is selfish. So think about it. Think about who needs you. What do they need from you? How can you make it really clear that you're the one who has them? Once you get past that worry about selfishness, and this one's pretty short because it's simple, but the fact is once you get past that idea of, oh, I don't want to look too all about myself, you can move on to defining who needs your help and with what. And more importantly, you can figure out how they're looking for you, both where and how. And this is really important actually, because so often we think about how we describe what we do. And we usually describe it in terms of the solution we provide. What we need to do, stop being selfish, think about the people who need you. How are they describing the problem that they have? It's different. It's different language. So get out of your own head, get out of your own worry, start thinking about who you serve and how you can make sure that they find you so that they can get what they need. Speaking of making sure that they get what they need, the third thing a lot of people get hung up on, imposter syndrome. A lot of talk about that nowadays, which is good, because back before people were talking about it, we all just thought it was just us. A lot of times the reason we're not putting our brand out there in a bigger, bolder way is because we don't feel bigger and bolder. We fear that we're not good enough. A lot of people have that. I have some personal stories to share with that, two in particular, both from a couple years ago. So I came to social media through a newsroom. I worked in a newsroom, I was a journalist. When I started in the newsroom, it seemed only natural to me of, okay, well, if I'm covering this local area, people need to know who the heck I am so that when something's going on, they can tell me and then I, have something to write about. So I hopped on social media, I made my profiles very public, I joined all these groups, I went to all these activities. I did a lot of what I now know as personal branding. I didn't know what I was doing, it just made sense to me. So when I got promoted to engagement editor at the paper, with the task of helping others in the newsroom do the same, I thought, but I don't know anything. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I just kind of do it, but I don't know anything. And that's soon thereafter, I started getting asked by a lot of local groups and businesses and things like that to talk about social media for small business. Because again, social media was a lot of how I was doing this personal branding. And again, I had that moment of, but I don't know anything though. And that's when I discovered thing number one that I want to make sure everyone really realizes about that imposter syndrome, which is you only need to know more than the person you're helping. That's really, nobody knows everything. It is impossible to know everything. But you have knowledge that someone else doesn't have. No matter what it is, you do. So that's thing number one. And there's also the fact that a lot of times when things come easily or naturally to us, we think that that means they're easy. We think that that means they're obvious. We think that that means those things are not important because we conflate difficulty with importance. And if it's not difficult, we think, oh, well, that doesn't have any value. That's not true. You're just good at it. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If something comes naturally to you, if you just kind of get it, it doesn't mean you don't know anything. It means that you do. It means that you're good at it. And by embracing that and realizing maybe it does have value, you can offer that value to other people. But the most important thing I want you to take away about imposter syndrome and how to get over it, this is the big tip. How to get over imposter syndrome in one easy step. Just get better. And that sounds so flippant, but it's true. Again, when people ask me to talk about social media, and I was like, well, I don't know anything. So learn. And when I heard that voice in my head saying, so learn, I went and I learned. And guess what? I got better. Doing things, also, do more of it, and you'll get better at it. That's another thing. So by learning more, by doing more, you will get better. And I have very good news about social media and getting better at it. Everyone wants to help you get better at social media. Facebook has marketing events for small businesses. There's conferences like Social Media Marketing World, Inbound, Kickstart Dublin, Atomicon. There's so many people who want to try to get better. And guess what? You don't have to travel or spend money. There's websites like HubSpot Academy has amazing free trainings. Social Media Examiner has lots of great articles. And of course, the best one of all, which sadly did not exist until a month ago, the Social Media Pulse community, socialmediapulse.community, has all sorts of trainings and articles and all of that. But there are so many other sources out there. Whatever it is you want to get better at, it's on the internet. I promise you that. You're never going to know everything. But figure out what you want to know more about, whether it's strengthening a strength and becoming the absolute master at it, or it's strengthening a weakness. Whatever it is, just do it, learn about it, get better. And then you can't say, well, I don't know anything. Of course, once you start learning a bit more about it, you realize all that you don't know, but still, up-level yourself. And then you can move on to defining what is it you want to be amazing at? What do you want your personal brand to be? What do you want to say, oh, that's the such and such person. That's the personal brand person. That's the FOMO creator person. That's the LinkedIn expert person. What is that? What person do you want to be? And then work at that. Get better at that. 1, 2, 3, very easy. And you can also figure out what are others in that space doing, because you want to be there too, and or not doing, so that you can become the leader in that subspace of that space. So, again, this was pretty quick, but those were the main blockages that I help people get through so that they can move forward into defining their personal brand and figuring out how they're going to put it forward into the world in a bigger, bolder way. A few quick tips about that execution part once you've gotten through these blockages. A few quick tips to keep in mind. Mind your digital footprint. Make sure that when people find out about you and they go look you up, you know what they're finding. It sounds so obvious and so basic, especially to people in this room, but there's people who still haven't Googled themselves on incognito mode. Gotta go on incognito mode because Google knows your youth otherwise. So go see what people are finding, make sure that it's all correct, make sure that it all is obviously pointing to the same place. And the other thing is you don't have too many stories. You really want to be very clear about what they should be finding you for. Because if they find you for this somewhere, and this somewhere else, and this in another place, A, they won't know if you're you. B, they'll wonder if you're really that serious about that thing you're master of. So make sure you've got your story straight, you're very clear. Don't be afraid to turn the wrong people off. What do we call those people?
Losers.
Yes, thank you. And they're not always losers. I mean, there are some wonderful, wonderful people who just don't need you. And that's fine. You don't have to be all things to all people, because if you try to be all things to all people, you will not be with the people who need you really need. The other thing is root for yourself. Seriously, that is a really important part of personal branding, and it can feel very unnatural. Again, hence all the talk about blockages, but you really do need to root for yourself. You need to believe in yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to show that off to other people. And then finally, remember that you are doing good things. If you are doing good things, if you are using your gifts to help other people, it's not shameful to promote yourself. It's practically charitable to promote yourself. I mean, really, think about it. People need what you have. Do not hoard it. Do not hide your awesome. You are doing good things. You are helping people. You're helping, say it. I'm helping people.
I'm helping people.
I don't believe you. But that's okay. We've only had 20 minutes together. You can work on that. But yes, you are doing good things. It is not shameful to want to do them for other people. So stop being ashamed of it. Thank you very much. Cheers, everyone. Here's where you can find me. And if you scan this right now, it will lead you to an article version of this presentation, including a live stream happening right now of this presentation. Hop in and comment. Tell me what you got out of this presentation. Tell me things you're working on. Tell me what you'd like to know more about. Just say, hey, nice to meet you. Whatever you'd like to do, but hop in there and make sure to check it out. Thanks.
That's rubbish. Wasn't that great? Let's hear it for Christine Gritmon.